Have you ever wanted to say I love you to somebody, but you just couldn't, and you were right in not saying it? Even though you had the feeling that you should or you might want to, you just never could bring yourself to do it. I think it's a very common thing amongst many of us that you reach the point where there's that ambient feeling where you think, I want to say it to this person soon. It's coming up, or it might be coming up, or I want it to come up. I want to solidify the relationship. I want to get to that point. It would feel so good to have the security to say those words. It's awkward and it's uncomfortable because someone's forcing you via emotional blackmail to say something and express something meaningful that you actually don't feel or you don't want to express. Not saying what you should say. Not responding how you should respond because it's shameful not to do it. You grow up not being able to push those words out of your throat. But then something curious happens. You get to know yourself around middle age and beyond, and it's no longer a feeling like a 5-year-old boy afraid to say what you want to say. You actually don't want to say it because you know what those words mean, and you refuse to say what you don't mean. Asking yourself why you can't say those words and you feel like you should, it tells you a lot about yourself in that situation. What's that resistance? That resistance is often your conscience screaming at you. I noticed as I got older, I couldn't say the words I love you to someone if I didn't mean it, if they didn't deserve it, if I wasn't there yet or at all. And that's nothing to say about realizing to yourself that, human, you're fooling yourself, you're never getting there. You want to love them, you want a relationship, but the fact that you can't muster those words out of your mouth, the fact that you can't say it to the person, means that you need to question whether or not it's even possible. Are you manufacturing the words to manufacture a relationship? Are you just putting a sticker of I love you on this thing? A personal story that I want to share was that in my last long-term relationship, I was with them for 2 years and I never once said I love you to her. And for the first year, everything was great and I could feel myself leading up to the point naturally to be able to say it, but it never came. You approach that point and then something happens where I feel like she's on Mars. I'd always be taking 1 step forward in the relationship and 10 steps back. Was it any wonder I couldn't say the words in good conscience? But I never regretted it. There was always something in me that didn't feel right in saying it, as though she didn't deserve those words from me. The relationship wasn't at that point. I couldn't lie to myself about where we were and what was happening between us. And so similarly, when someone says, I love you, and you don't return the compliment, you feel awkward. You feel rude. It's impolite. This is one thing I realized as I was growing up. I didn't want to lie to myself anymore. I didn't want to just do and say things for other people that I myself felt embarrassed about. And this is the point of this video. If you could never say the words, or it took you a very, very long time to say it, or something kept holding you back, was it arguments? Was it the distance between you kept getting wider and wider and you could never get close enough to say it to the person? What was it that stopped you saying it? Was it your own fear? Was it things you need to deal with within yourself and you're unable to say to anyone? Or was it actually them? So ask yourself, guys, why can't you say the words I love you to someone if you really don't mean the words? You're not that 5-year-old anymore. You know what the words mean. You know the kind of person and the kind of feelings by which you could say it to somebody, but you can't. So it's no longer fear. It's, no, those words mean something and I cannot say them. And it's not because I'm afraid, it's because they don't deserve it. By dint of the fact that I can't say the words. Think about it. Were there good reasons you couldn't say it? Like in the example I gave in my past. But just broadly, I want us to remind ourselves of those situations where we couldn't say the words. We couldn't open up to them. The lesson I learned is you can't say those words while walking on eggshells, like you need to say it for them. Otherwise they're going to leave, or they're going to get annoyed, or there's going to be further distance between you if you don't say it. This is the important point. Does saying those words feel like emotional blackmail, whether it's coming from you or from them. It shouldn't, but does it? Your conscience might be telling you that you shouldn't be with this person, and the words I love you don't belong in this relationship. I'd be interested to know your experience with this inability to say I love you, wanting to, but you can't, and you realize why you can't. It feels right not to say it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section. Subscribe, support the channel, and share my videos around if you can. That helps out too, and I'll catch you in the next video.